direction the 49ers will receive. The Vikings at 4-3. The 49ers are 2-5. Ryan Longwell kicks off for Minnesota, and we are underway. Brandon Williams, third-round draft pick out of Wisconsin, on the return, and he is brought down short of the 20-yard line by Heath Farwell at the 19. Check out the 49ers on offense. The offensive line back together again last week. Larry Allen came in as a free agent. Jonas Jennings 2 seasons ago was brought in as a free agent. Frank Gore is 5th in the NFL in rushing. Moran Norris in the two-back situation is the fullback blocker. Antonio Bryant is the key wide receiver. And Eric Johnson, a good pass receiving tight end. Come out in two backs. And both wide receivers to the left side. Alex Smith, #1 pick overall last season out of Utah. Frank Gore gets about 2 yards. On the first down carry, Antoine Winfield, the left cornerback, made the tackle for the Vikings, who have a strong front line. But Kevin Williams is playing with a high ankle sprain. It'll be interesting to see how much he can go and how effective he'll be. Dontarius Thomas is starting for the injured Napoleon Harris at middle linebacker. The secondary has got a rebound from a tough game on Monday night against New England and Tom Brady.
Well, and there's Pat Williams, who's right next to Kevin Williams, and he's got a knee injury. You talked about Kevin with the ankle. Pat's been dealing with a knee for a while.
On second down, Gore is brought down short of the line of scrimmage. Good tackle again by Antoine Winfield.
He is unbelievable when you talk about a guy that seeks out contact and to get himself into the combat zone. Watch Antoine Winfield come up. They call this corner support. There's 330 pounds coming at him. He slips right under Quaim Harris and then makes a sure tackle on Frank Gore.
Minnesota brings in the rookie Ray Edwards at defensive end and a 5th defensive back, Cedric Griffin. 3 wide receivers for San Francisco. Brian Gilmore is the 3rd, along with Antonio Bryant and Arnaz Battle. Out of the shotgun on 3rd down. Smith gets time, and his pass is a short one, and Antonio Bryant is brought down at about the 21-yard line. So nowhere near the first down. Cedric Griffin, who came in the nickel situation, made the tackle.
Yeah, that was a good stop. That's what they want to do in that zone coverage. Come up and break and make sure tackles on guys. You know, fans at home may be wondering, where's the spread offense? That's what New England did last week against these Vikings and had all the success. Sam, it's simple. The 49ers do not have the veteran quarterback that can make all that decisions. Clearly, they don't have all the weapons that New England was able to deploy, so I don't think we'll see a lot of that spread offense today.
Andy Lee punting to Mewelde Moore, waves for a fair catch and takes it around the 28-yard line. And the Vikings will go on offense for the first time after a 50-yard punt by Andy Lee. Strong offensive line, but Matt Burke has got a bit of a hyperextended knee that they're concerned about. Steve Hutchinson has played well. The tackles will have their hands full. Chester Taylor is having a career season for the Vikings. And Troy Williamson is their #1 receiver. They're counting on him to come up with some big plays today.
Look at that record for Brad Johnson as a starter. We all know he was in Minnesota for the first time around, did some good things, and then finished the season his second time around 7-2 last year, and obviously 4-3 here in 06.
On first down off the play fake, the short throw to the fullback Tony Richardson breaks a tackle and is out of bounds at the 38. It's a first down for the Vikings. 49ers defensively, they have struggled. The rookie Melvin Oliver starts outside. Brian Young is steady as ever, playing very, very well. Derek Smith has got a bit of an eye problem. The rookie Manny Lawson, he'll be all over the field. Secondary has been a problem. Walt Harris had one big day where he had 3 picks. And there's the head coach and the man who runs the defense, Mike Nolan. Vikings on first down. And it's Chester Taylor for about a yard up to the 40-yard line.
Should be a good matchup today, Sam. Just watching both of these teams, because if San Francisco has done anything positive on defense this year, it's been stopping the run. And they have been inconsistent in that area, but that is what they've done best. And I think that matches up well with what Minnesota has been able to do, which is run the football, inconsistent with their passing game and that stuff underneath. So 49ers, this is what they want. You know, stop the run early, earn the right to rush the passer, and then see if they can turn it up.
2 tight ends in. Jermaine Wiggins, the pass receiving tight end, lines up on the left side. On 2nd and 9. Nice cutback by Chester Taylor. And Taylor gets up close to the first down line. Let's see where the spot is. Nice run by Chester Taylor, who 2 weeks ago in Seattle rushed for 169 yards. Then against New England, they never got him into the flow of the offense. Carried only 10 times for 22 yards.
Yep. Yeah, I think that was a good example of the 49ers on defense just trying to do too much. We had Marquise Douglas out there at right end. He was fine. He had the edge secured and then peeked inside, and that's when Chester Taylor bounced outside him.
An inch short. Ed Hockley is our referee, his 17th year in the NFL. And I know that Troy Aikman was wondering if he got a shirt that was a size too small to show off his strong upper body. But Ed
I think Ed orders all of his shirts maybe one size too small. It's all right. If you got it, flaunt it, Sammy. You know that.
Like you, big fella.
Look at this.
Third down defense has not been good for San Francisco. As you can see, worst in the NFL. Opponents succeeding better than 51% of the time. This is 3rd and inches with Tony Richardson at fullback and 2 tight ends in. It's Richardson straight ahead for a first down at midfield. Good push by the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings, and that's where it starts for the Vikings offensively. They put together a good group. Steve Hutchinson coming in from Seattle has really solidified the interior of that offensive line.
And I think in talking to Brad Childress, it was, and like all teams, I mean, if you're playing well up front, you got a great shot of winning your football games. And I think last week that thing got out of hand so early that the O-line couldn't do their thing. And really think since week 4, since after that Buffalo game, this group up here collectively have really improved.
Play fake, Johnson rolling, looking downfield, and decides to pull it down and run, and picks up about 4 yards on the play. Johnson looking downfield and nothing open.
You know, it's an interesting offense when you look at it because the numbers do not show that they're conservative. They're, I think, in the top 6 in the league with explosive plays of 20+. But you just never see those splash plays down the field. I think a lot of those have been of the catch and run variety. And I know Travis Taylor was open on that time and he wasn't able to find him.
3rd wide receiver, Billy McMullen in on 2nd and 6. Chester Taylor slashes down to the 40-yard line, just short of the 40 and just short of the first down line. Marcus Douglas makes the tackle, the man who was brought in from the Baltimore Ravens, who Mike Nolan knows very well. Mike Nolan and San Francisco addressed the offense the last 2 seasons in the draft and in free agency, and the plan is to address the defense in the upcoming offseason. 2 tight ends in, Richardson at fullback. On 3rd and less than a yard, there's the first down. Chester Taylor with plenty gets down to the 36-yard line. Keith Lewis made the tackle.
When they run, this is their money side now. And this same thing we saw in the last 3rd and short. The guy on the edge has got to keep that outside shoulder free so he can get out there and make the tackle. And that time it looked like it was Manny Lawson. Right here, no, Brandon Moore in perfect position. Keep your outside shoulder free. Bounce out and make that play. He's unable to do that, and you can see.
Injured player on the field for the 49ers will step out for a moment. 2 players were shaken up. Manny Lawson and Walt Harris both walked off under their own power, and seems like they should be okay.
There's Jeff Ulbrich there, who didn't start at linebacker today, and now with Manny Lawson getting nicked up there, we'll see if he gets into the lineup here early in this game.
2 tight ends for the Vikings. Their 8th play of the drive, and not much there. No gain for Chester Taylor. 7th run, only 1 pass in this possession for the Minnesota Vikings. Brandon Moore in on the tackle on Chester Taylor, who's carried 5 times, and they want to get him a lot of carries early. They feel he's better when he gets into the game early.
Brad told us last night, Childress, that he's one of those guys that's got to get his lather up. He's got to get his sweat going. He's a guy, as you said, that the later the game goes on, the more carries he gets, the more he gets his football legs up underneath him.
On 2nd and 9, with 3 wide receivers in, Johnson with time throwing short, and the completion over the middle of Chester Taylor down to the 30-yard line. Took a hard hit. Chester Taylor with 25 receptions. Both these running backs in the game today are good catching the ball out of the backfield.
Well, and they'll do that. That's what Minnesota does. I mean, a lot like Philadelphia when Brad Childress was there for their offensive coordinator. It's just all the dink and dunk stuff underneath. Now, if they're going to do that to you, you got to do what you just saw Manny Lawson do there. Be physical, punishing tacklers all day long. So when those same routes, Sam, come up in the fourth quarter, they're not so excited to reach out and get them in fear of taking a big hit.
3rd and 4, 3 wide receivers in. Now empty backfield, everybody out. Blitz coming. Johnson gets rid of it. It's caught by Travis Taylor, and he's got a first down to the 23-yard line. A quick release by Brad Johnson. Let's go down to the field to Chris Myers.
Well, Sam, you called out Manny Lawson's number a moment ago. A contusion in both knees, but okay enough to return. They'll double-check it at halftime. Walt Harris suffering from a hip pointer. Probable, though. They think he'll be able to see action right away as well.
Quite an opening drive for the Minnesota Vikings. They have eaten up nearly 8 minutes. Sammy Davis is in at cornerback. Chester Taylor, big hole, and he gets through and gets inside the 15. Down to the 14-yard line. He picked up 9 on the play. Tony Parrish made the tackle. Well, outstanding drive by the Vikes.
Well, they caught San Francisco in a little slant. Bryant Young's going to try to clear it out down inside. And right where he voids, that's an easy block down for Marcus Johnson, which is allowed to make a nice crease and alleyway there, straight downhill for Chester Taylor. And that's what he is. I mean, if he can get going downhill in a hurry, you won't see him throughout this game take a lot of negative plays.
6 carries, 29 yards for Chester Taylor. It's 2nd and 1 for the Vikings. And it's Taylor again, and he's got a first down and keeps on pushing down to the 11-yard line. What a drive by the Vikings, who have not scored a first-quarter touchdown since the opening game of the season.
Yeah, and they need to get that comp. I mean, both of these teams, this first drive in this first quarter, I think is huge. Both of these teams coming off blowout losses last week, so this will be big in their confidence. And Mike Nolan knows his defense all year long. It has gotten ugly. And they need to search somehow, some way, and find some confidence. Whether they get a stop here or hold them to a field goal, they need to figure it out and find some confidence here for this game.
Vikings with 3 tight ends in. Rich Owens the third. The play fake and roll by Johnson. Gets rid of it to Taylor. Makes a good catch and is wrestled out of bounds by Mike Adams. At around the 8-yard line, they'll give him forward progress to the 7. A pickup of 4 on the play. Well, they mark it now around the 8-yard line. We'll give him 3.
Watch Manny Lawson. I think this is a good illustration of how green he is as a young player. Look at him. I mean, that is, for a defensive end, especially as athletic as him, you need to play the upfield shoulder of that quarterback. You need to see that coming. There's no way that Brad Johnson should have been able to outflank him and beat him to the corner, but because he's young and is yet to understand the game, he wasn't right mentally.
Well, Weldy Moore in at running back. Takes it wide, but he's brought down for a loss. Outstanding play by T.J. Slaughter. That's a big defensive play for Slaughter back to the 9-yard line.
Big play, filling over the top, and same old story now. And you'll watch Slaughter. He's just going to flash downhill in your screen right here, right where he needs to be. That's just good stuff. I mean, moving down the line of scrimmage, and then when you see it, get yourself up to the line of scrimmage and get a big stop. And the woes continue down in this money zone, in the red zone, Sam, for this Minnesota offense.
3 wide receivers in. It's 3rd and 8 for the Vikings. Johnson throwing and completing, but short of the first down to Travis Taylor. They give him forward progress to about the 3-yard line, but he needed to get to the 1 for a first down. So it's 4th down for the Vikings, and a drive that has gone almost 11 minutes. Stalls short of the goal line at the 3, and the field goal kicking unit comes on.
Boy, Olbrich was just about a half a second late getting over and getting in front of that football and getting a bat down. Brad Johnson just playing it safe. Remember the big pick he threw down in the red zone last week on the Monday night game? He won't do that again here today. He took the open receiver.
21-yard field goal. Ryan Longwell, it's through. A drive of 11 minutes and 9 seconds. The opening drive of the game. The Vikings march down and settle for 3. You're winding your way down Lombard Street. People just drive there just for the thrill of
got a skateboard
around.
I could see you up on a board on a deck coming down that hill.
But don't do it if there's any icy or, you know, if it's a cold rain.
Don't get much ice out here.
Slipping and sliding. Once in a while, it gets chilly at night. Longwell kicks it off. Brandon Williams on the return. Cuts to the outside, and a good return by Williams. Ooh, looked like he stepped out of bounds at the 38-yard line. 49ers, second possession of the game after a 36-yard return.
Sam, when you think 49er football, you think tradition, you think pride, you think work ethic, desire. Ulbrich has got all that stuff. He's been a long-time starter here, coming off an injury last year. Got demoted this week. Said right when he got demoted, ran into Larry McDuff's office, the special teams coach, and said, put me on every team. I want to have an impact on this football game. That's a great story.
49ers, two tight ends, Delaney Walker in motion. Their second possession. The first one, they went 3 and out. Smith's pass through the hands of Antonio Bryant. Time for an NFL update for that. Let's go to L.A. and Chris Rose.
Sam, crazy finish in D.C. 6 seconds left. Mike Vanderjagt's field goal blocked. John Taylor picks it up, starts running the wrong way. Base mask penalty against Dallas, so we're going to have an untimed down 15 yards ahead of where it should have been done. Nick Novak then from 47 yards out wins it as time expires. And I'm out of time. Back to Sam, Tim, and Chris.
We'll give you as much time as you need,
Holy
Chris. Oh, wow, what a finish. So Dallas drops to 4-4, and Washington 3-5. The Giants holding off a win over Houston.
What a huge win for the Redskins.
Second down, Frank Gore ran into Ben Lieber, pushes his way across the 40, gets about 3 yards on the play. Want to correct something I said. The Minnesota drive was 9 minutes. I had forgotten that the 49ers took the opening kickoff, went 3 and out. Vikings, 16 plays, 69 yards in 9 minutes.
Yeah, well, again, though, they weren't able to capitalize with the touchdown. It was a field goal, so give the 49er D a little credit for getting stiff with their backs against the wall. You got to love Frank Gore, this running back. I mean, the guy is confusing, deceptive when you look at him. Doesn't really pass the eyeball test of this big, buffed out, fast running back. But I'll tell you what, he gets downhill in a hurry, and one of those hard heads defenders don't like to tackle.
3 wide receivers in, along with Frank Gore. Smith throwing, caught, beautiful catch by Antonio Bryant. Went up in front of Cedric Griffin, and it's a first down for the 49ers at the 37-yard line. A pickup of 23.
And they got him in man coverage. He's just going to run a crossing route right here. Cedric Griffin can't run with him. He's going to go up and get it. And I expect him to take shots at the middle of the field all day long. And I'll tell you why. Dontarius Thomas is starting out there for Napoleon Harris. And you don't see him in your picture there. But certainly in pass defense, he's got a big part of this middle zone on the defensive side of the ball. And I think the 49ers will attack there all day.
Antonio Bryant averaging better than 18 yards per catch. Frank Gore behind Moran Norris. Gets down to the 34-yard line. Picks up about 3 yards on the play. Napoleon Harris, the middle linebacker, is out. And Dontarius Thomas, the third-year linebacker out of Auburn, is the starter. Now, a quiet guy in the huddle, so it needs some help in there.
It may present some issues because you see there, he's getting the calls, and now he's telling them to the guy. He's getting the call from the sidelines and then telling the defense. And talking to Sharper and some of the other guys, said he's as quiet as a mouse. So we're going to have to help him out. And as soon as we get the call, we need to mimic it, reiterate it, get it from Mike Tomlin there, the defensive coordinator, and then sell it to everybody else.
Vikings have Ross Kalajian at defensive tackle. The play fake by Alex Smith, throws to Frank Gore. Gore taken down by Antoine Winfield at the 28, short of the first down, or just at the first down line. It's spotted a little short. Let's go down to the field to Chris Myers. Chris.
Yeah, and Sam and Tim, I've been watching Dontarius Thomas and the verbalization. Obviously, you have to play physically, but they were concerned because he's as quiet as a mouse and that he doesn't speak up. A few times, Darren Sharper's had to come in from the secondary and kind of have him repeat to the rest of the team what's going on that last play. He did drop into coverage, so he's a little, it looks like he's a little off here physically, and obviously he's going to have to verbalize a little bit more through this game.
Billy Badgerma in as the second tight end. It's 3rd and 1. And the flip outside of Michael Robinson, bounces off one man, fights his way forward. And did he get enough for the first down? We'll see where the spot is. Michael Robinson looks like he got enough for the first down. That's the converted quarterback who came out of Penn State. Now a running back and a good third down man for the 49ers.
And clearly their number 2 back and hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but he's just going to keep it going and get right over Fred Smoot. And then a bigger defender comes in. You look at Michael Robinson, as you said, the guy that played quarterback and all that stuff. He's real strong in the lower body. I I covered him at the Senior Bowl in the offseason and just watching him, and that's where they made the position switch from quarterback to running back, and the guy is explosive. He's got a lot of burst to him, and saw a good example of it there in fighting for the first down.
First down, 49ers at the Vikings 26-yard line. Two tight ends in, Billy Badgema and Eric Johnson. Johnson goes in motion. Blitz coming. Short drop. The pump fake by Smith. Goes deep over the middle. Overthrows Eric Johnson. He was behind Ben Lieber, but it was overthrown. Alex Smith knows it. He had the man open.
Well, you got to like what Alex did in terms of being able to find his guy, because all of his vision point is going to be over here. So he's trying to get a pump and go, and now he comes back and knows where Eric Johnson's going to be, but just couldn't pull the trigger and get it where he wanted that football, because he certainly had Ben Lieber beat right down the seam. That's the thing now, Sam, excuse me, is last year he said he was at his first and second read all the time.
Right.
So much further along this year, being able to mentally, because of how he feels in the system, get down to his third and fourth read.
Three wide receivers in, Brian Gilmore the third. And they stop the play. And we'll see what Ed Hockley calls.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty. It's second down.
Final seconds of the first quarter. Slow getting the play off.
Well, that's a killer, too, as you're approaching that red zone now and getting it down into their territory. And just give them 5 like that, especially against that defense.
Mike Nolan is the head man. His offensive coordinator is Norv Turner, one of the outstanding offensive minds in the NFL.
And I think a big part of Norv Turner being here is the success of Alex Smith that shows up on Sunday.
No, I'm over here.
Second and 15. 3 wide receivers in. Smith being pressured. He moves, throws down the sideline, throws it away. And it'll bring up a third and long, and a flag comes in. A couple of flags now, late. It's against the 49ers.
Looked like they had guys down the field. Some of their offensive
roll.
linemen, yeah.
It's a team that makes mistakes, and as Mike Nolan told us, they're not mature enough to overcome those mistakes.
The mistakes and then the turnovers. I mean, that's been a big part. They've basically self-destructed a lot this year.
There were 2 fouls by the offense on the play. Illegal formation, number 75. There was also an ineligible downfield by the offense, number 66. Both penalties have declined. Brings up third down.
Good catch by the parab.
What's a parab, Sam?
It's that parabolic microphone. Come on. What do you mean?
There's the parab. There he is.
He's a good receiver out there.
See, what you got to do, though, is you got to turn that thing up so you can get it more in the catch position.
And hold on. Third and 15. Jamie Mitchell and Spencer Johnson in on the defensive line for the Vikings. Under pressure, Smith throws and complete to Arnaz Battle. Inside the 15-yard line, he's still fighting for yardage. He's got a first down. Good effort by Arnaz Battle. As we come to the end of the first quarter, the Vikings have a 3-0 lead, but the 49ers are on the move. 3-0 Minnesota.
This is Sam.
Back in San Francisco, Sam Rosen, Tim Ryan, Chris Myers. We start the second quarter, 10th play of the drive for the 49ers. First down at the Vikings 14. Frank Gore. And he's pulled down. Good play by Kenechi Udeza, the defensive end. Udeza hasn't quite had the big season that the Vikings would like, but according to Mike Tomlin, the defensive coordinator, he's been solid.
He's played well. I think you can't be as good as they are at run defense with a right end that's not having a good year. Now, you know and I know that defensive ends, and even Mikey Tomlin told us the same thing, the DC there, the defensive ends are judged on their stats in terms of the sacks. And he doesn't have any of those this year. He said he's been close. He's run himself by the quarterback more times than not, but When you put his whole year together in terms of his run defense, he said he's been solid.
3 wide receivers, 2 backs for the 49ers on 2nd and 12. Smith, main rush. Gets it outside of Frank Gore, inside the 10, and down to about the 7-yard line. Fred Smoot made the tackle. As we mentioned about Chester Taylor, Gore, excellent out of the backfield, 28 receptions this season.
Yep, and he came in here number 2 in receptions out of the backfield, and he said he's always been able to catch. He told us, yes, he said, heck, I could play wide receiver on this team if I wanted to, and he gets it out there, and now it gets him in a third manageable here so where they don't have to take a shot into the end zone, Sam. They can get it down to about the 2.5-yard line and pick up a first down.
3rd and 4. 5 defensive backs in for the Vikings. 3 wide receivers for San Francisco. Smith gets time, throws, batted down. Excellent play by Dwight Smith. And that'll bring on the 49ers field goal kicking unit.
Looked like he just threw this late, which allowed Dwight Smith to get over there in front of Arnaz Battle and bat that thing down because he was open. Battle was open as soon as he got beyond the goal line, and that's what they do. The team's getting that zone coverage, and the defenders will get 2 yards deep into the end zone. The offensive guys will try to get in front of him and sit down beyond the goal line. He did it there. The quarterback was late.
Smith had the arm on the back of Arnaz Battle there a little bit, grabbing a handful of jersey. Joe Nedney, 25-yard field goal, ties the game. Good drive for the 49ers to answer back, but they too can't put it in the end zone once they get to the red zone, and Nedney puts it through the uprights. A look at Alcatraz, and then from there we go in the booth where Joe Montana is somewhere in that booth with his son's high school basketball team. There's Joe. There's Joe in the background. Okay. Joe Nedney kicks off. Bethel Johnson, signed a couple of weeks ago, takes it at the 11. Nice return. Somebody lost a helmet in there. And Johnson up to about the 34-yard line, where the Vikings take over with the game tied at 3.
Despite his benching last week, Brad Johnson confident on this field. It was 7 years ago when he quarterbacked for the Redskins. His best game as a pro, 471 yards in a win over the 49ers. Now he says he still, at age 38, has something to prove. If the turnovers continue, he knows, Sam, he could go back to the bench.
Brooks Bollinger is the backup on first down. It's Chester Taylor cutting it upfield, gets to the 39-yard line, picked up 6 on the play. Here's what happened Monday night against New England.
Yeah, and it was ugly. In particular, this turnover early as he just pushes that one out there to Muelde Moore down there in the red zone. Another bad pick that he couldn't. Said someone was behind him and he couldn't unload that football fast enough. And just careless with the football. That's not his MO. It never has been. He's going to make good decisions more times than not. And how many times did he tell us last night? We're a good football team.
Yeah.
We're a good football. He said that 4 or 5 times in our meetings last night.
3 wide receivers in, but Chester Taylor carries, only gets a yard this time. Good job by the 49ers. Time for another NFL update. Let's go back to Chris Rose.
Sam, Jake Plummer went 13 straight games without a first quarter TD pass. He had 2 in 21 seconds, 1 to Rod Smith. That's to Javon Walker. And the Broncos up 14-0 on the defending champs. Back to Sam, Tim, and Chris.
Oh, Chris, thanks. What is going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers at 2-5? Denver battling for first place in the AFC West.
Sam, it's the National Fake You Out League. You never know from Sunday to Sunday. It's wacky.
3rd and a long 2. Muelde Moore in the backfield. Johnson rolls and throws, completes it to Travis Taylor, a first down for the Vikings. Up close to the 47-yard line, Walt Harris, who's back in the lineup after being shaken up with a hip pointer in the first half, chased him out of bounds. And now Steve Hutchinson limping to the sideline. And that would be a big loss. Jason Whittle replaces him. Brad Johnson 6 for 6, 38 yards. Thus far, this is the second Vikings possession of the game. Chester Taylor looking for an opening. Pulls his way across midfield down the 49. of the 49ers.
I would think if you're a San Francisco defender or a fan of this football team defensively, they've hung in there pretty good so far. I mean, the one long drive early, but beyond that, they have shut down Chester Taylor here on this last drive.
It'll be interesting to watch if the 49ers can hold up the way the Vikings are just grinding it out, grinding it out.
I'll tell you what happens with this team. If they can stay in this thing throughout defensively, then offensively they can stay with their game plan, and that's getting a lot of Frank Gore involved, both running and catching the football.
Blitz coming from the outside, and they got him. The ball's loose. It's a live ball, and it is picked up by Shante Spencer. He is down at the 21-yard line, the first turnover of the game. The blitz worked, forced the fumble. 49ers recover at the Vikings 21. Walt Harris blitz from the outside. Johnson never saw him coming.
Well, and Marcus Douglas is the guy here. Watch him flash underneath, and he just splits the left guard. Steve Hutchinson has to go out. Whittle comes in. That's right where they attacked, and look at Marcus Douglas come with that tomahawk chop, slap that football out of there so Spencer could get it.
So a big turnover. Brad Johnson maybe shaken up there on the play as he sits on the bench.
Good call by Mike Nolan, attacking where Steve Hutchinson just left at left guard.
On first down, it's Gore getting the block from Larry Allen, getting down to the 20-yard line. Picked up a yard on the play. Ben Lieber made the stop. 49ers are -10 in the takeaway giveaway ratio for the season coming into play today. That's a big takeaway for them.
Well, and I think if you looked at that game last week, that was the biggest reason why they were down 41-0 at halftime, as bad as that thing got. No, they're right where they want to be, especially a 2-5 football team in terms of the confidence, playing at home where they've been better all year. It's like that confidence for them, Sammy, is starting to spike up.
Two tight ends in. Billy Badgham is in. Gore in motion, empty backfield. Smith completes it to Eric Johnson. The tight end down to the 13-yard line. A little short of the first down. E.J. Henderson makes the stop. This again, the red zone where the 49ers have had problems putting it in the end zone.
And this is an area we talk about Dontarius Thomas. He's going to bail. Johnson is just going to sit down right in that little voided zone. You see the middle linebacker bail out of there quick? It's exactly what I talked about. You watch Urlacher, some of the other teams running this Tampa 2 defense. Those guys, those middle backers, will not void out of the zone too early just because of that Dontarius being green and relatively new in the position. They'll take advantage of that.
Three wide receivers for the 49ers. Eric Johnson motions. Short drop by Smith to Johnson. Push back. Let's see where they mark forward progress. This will be an interesting spot. It's around the 11-yard line and very close to the first down line. Maybe a little short. Good job by Darren Sharper and E.J. Henderson stopping Eric Johnson's forward progress and shoving him back.
Looks like they're trying to do San Francisco exactly what New England did last week, and albeit not as much out of the spread, but attack those linebackers underneath. Hit the underneath coverage, and then hope as this game goes on that you can break some of those tackles and get some big yards after the catch.
Mike Nolan sends out the field goal kicking unit. And this would be a good stop for Minnesota. To come away giving up only 3 would be a plus for the Vikings. Nedney's kick is good, and the 49ers have taken a 6-3 lead on the 30-yard field goal.
Pretty amazing stat for him. 62 is 62 in his career at under 30 yards for Nedney. Wow.
Tonight on Fox, your favorite Sunday comedies are back with all new episodes of The Simpsons, Treehouse of Horror, American Dad, Family Guy, and The War at Home. It all starts tonight with a bonus hour of The Simpsons at 7, 6 Central, only on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised. 2 Joe Nedney field goals. Now he kicks off. Bethel Johnson is deep for Minnesota. And it pops in the air and is caught by Brian Gilmore, and it is San Francisco ball. How about that one? Larry McDuff, the special teams coordinator,
What a heck of a kick by Joe Nedney. That was perfect. They had no idea that was coming. McDuff caught him slipping. Sam, terrific call by Larry McDuff, who you see there, the special teams coach. And tell you, usually, especially early in games, you're trying to sell that thing hard to the head coach, and many times you're struggling to get it done. But being 2-5 and where they've been all year, and not surprised that they went for it, and really caught Minnesota slipping. They had no idea it was coming. Minnesota was already in their back pedal by the time that ball hit its second bounce, which allowed Gilmore to go up and get it uncontested.
Great job by Brian Gilmore. On first down, Frank Gore getting outside, puts his head down, gets up to the 45-yard line. The 49ers have brought in Adam Snyder, second-year tackle out of Oregon, replacing Quaim Harris. And Snyder, who's someone that Mike Nolan was saying could start anywhere on the offensive line, is getting some playing time now at right tackle.
Started a bunch of games last year at guard, at left tackle for Jonas Jennings when he was hurt. Snyder had a biceps injury earlier in the year, and he's one of those guys. He's only in year 2, but as a third-round pick, they already gave him a new deal. They expect this guy to be here for a long time. Lock him in there at that right tackle spot.
Alex Smith, 7 for 11 passing, 65 yards. Being pressured, steps up, rolls, looking, running. Out of bounds near the first down line. They'll spot it at the Vikings 48-yard line, about a yard, maybe a half yard short of the first down. Darian Scott put pressure on, and Smith rolled out.
And right there on Adam Snyder, who we were just talking about. But watch his athleticism, and this is what they like, because he's beat. His hands are beat there, but he's got enough athleticism, and that's what the pro game's all about, that he could recover just enough to get the push on the hip of Darian Scott, which freed the edge for Alex Smith.
Michael Robinson is in as the third down back, along with Moran Norris, the fullback. 3rd and 1 for the 49ers. And it's Robinson straight ahead and brought down short of the first down line. Nice tackle by Kevin Williams. He's the key to the Minnesota defense. As Mike Tomlin, the defensive coordinator, says, he's our guy. He's the guy. There's a flag down on the far side. There's Mike Tomlin in his first year as defensive coordinator, after spending time on the defense in Tampa Bay.
There's no foul on the play. The formation was legal. It was just an unbalanced line.
Thank you, Ed, for the clarification. But it is 4th down for the 49ers, and Mike Nolan sends on the punting unit. So after a couple of good opportunities, the 49ers have wasted them.
Yep.
They didn't get a first down after the fumble recovery. They had to settle for a field goal. And here, after the recovery of the onside kick, they come up short of the first down again. Weldy Moore is deep.
All that momentum they just gained from that onside kick just diffused by that big play by Kevin Williams on the short yardage.
Second punt of the game for Andy Lee. His first one was a 50-yarder. Weldy Moore returned a punt for a touchdown against New England on Monday night. He lets this one bounce, and it goes into the end zone for a touchback. So the Vikings will start at the 20-yard line. 47-yard punt, nets 27.
Former University of Miami running back Frank Gore hoping to have a big game so he can brag about it on Monday. Part of the University of Miami conference call unofficially with Clinton Portis, Edgerrin James, Willis McGahee. They all check out each other's stats. They brag, they trash talk. And Gore says it helps push each of them to do better. Portis did the best so far today. Sam?
Frank Gore has been stopped pretty much. Chester Taylor's having a good game for Minnesota. He's got a first down up to the 33-yard line, his 3rd catch of the game. Only the 3rd possession of the game for the Vikings. The first one was a 9-minute drive where they got the field goal. Second one they were stopped, and then they never got the ball in the 3rd one because they weren't ready on the onside kick. But here, a first down at the 33.
That's a little wrinkle that Chester Taylor brings that nobody talks about. His ability out of the backfield, Sam, to be a bona fide threat in terms of being a receiver. And he'll be one of those guys at the end of the year that ended up with 55, 60 catches.
Bethel Johnson in wide receiver, replacing Troy Williamson. Brad Johnson, plenty of time. Wants to go deep, and he does. Flag on the play, and out there is Bethel Johnson, but he dropped it. Mark Roman with the big hit. Or was it Keith Lewis? Keith Lewis with the big hit knocked the ball out of the hands of Bethel Johnson. This one should have been caught.
This is their heat guy, Bethel Johnson, right down the seam. Nobody's running with him. Now he's got to slow down because this ball's late coming out. Oh, he should have caught that. Look, I mean, it looked like he had it, and then Keith Lewis came in with the left hand and just punched it out. You got to corral that thing and then secure it. He corralled it, never secured it. He got it punched.
Check out the penalty.
Tripping by the offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
It's on Bryant McKinney, the left tackle.
Wait, I didn't see it from up here, and I had my glasses on McKinney. Here he is there. Defender's going to come inside of him. That's right where he must have. That's right where the umpire had to call it. That didn't look like a trip. You saw Anthony Adams was able to get up and still get into the quarterback. They called the trip before that.
The good news, Steve Hutchinson back in for the Vikings at left guard. 1st and 20 with Chester Taylor carrying. Nice gain on a hard run up to the 33-yard line. For Chester Taylor, who's been averaging about 4.5 yards per carry in this game. That was his 11th carry, 55 yards. Now 5 yards per carry.
Some decent tackling so far in this game by this defense. And talking to the coaches yesterday, that was an area that's really got them all year long. Obviously not lining up right at times and some of their zone fits in terms of the coverage stuff, but
2 tight ends in for the Vikings. Taylor carries again, little cutback. Nets him about 3 as Melvin Oliver, the rookie out of LSU, made the stop.
But as I was saying, Sam, not a lot of missed tackles here in the first half of this football game, and you see the payoff there with only 3 points there for Minnesota. Manny Lawson is lost on this defense. Look at him. I've seen this 3 times today. He has trouble knowing where to line up. That's half the battle in the pro game. If you're going to beat yourself with your alignment, you got no chance in this Sunday afternoon league now.
Big 3rd down play. 3rd and 6. 3 wide receivers for Minnesota. With Bethel Johnson III. Weldy Moore in the backfield. Picks up the blitz. Johnson lobs it, and it's incomplete. There's a flag on the play, and I think it's going to be against Travis Taylor. He grabbed the defender, Walt Harris, on the play.
It's a good job of Walt Harris reading the receiver, and as soon as he turned and located the football, Walt Harris turned and found it, and it looked like before any contact, at least on his part, took place.
The conference breaks up.
Pass interference defense, number 27. The ball is placed at the spot of the foul. First down.
My apologies. I thought I saw Travis Taylor grab Walt Harris. Let's see.
Well, here's Walt right here in the slot. Now, no contact yet. Now he's going to turn and locate, and then there's the contact. Boy, I don't know if I like that call.
I think it was
he turned
Travis
to find
Taylor.
the football.
I thought it was Travis Taylor that initiated the contact. 21-yard penalty, nevertheless, on the 49ers. Puts the ball at the San Francisco 42.
I'll give you that one, Sam. You were right on it.
Travis Taylor in motion. Chester Taylor carries, bounces it outside. Hit hard by Tony Parrish. A flag on the play inside. He got down to the 36. And the penalty's coming up against the Vikings.
Holding offense number 72. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Marcus Johnson, the right tackle, called on the hold.
Boy, if you're Manny Lawson, and watch him right here, you have got to get off this block. And here's the hold, but Manny Lawson's got to get off this block. That's a D-end OLB on a tight end. You've got to whip that guy every time. And Kleinsasser had him locked out there and certainly controlled him at the point of attack. You got to shed that offensive player.
They really move Lawson around to try and find a good spot for him, don't they?
Yeah, they do. And you can tell just by watching him play that he's very gifted athletically, but is having trouble with the transition mentally to the pro game.
On 1st and 20, I think Johnson wanted to set up a screen. He throws it hard to Chester Taylor, who gets back to midfield. Short pickup on the play. Bryant Young with big pressure on Brad Johnson. Bryant Young, the Vikings were saying in watching him on film, he looks like he's playing every play like it's the Super Bowl.
He's still their best defensive lineman and has been for a long time. There's some good comments by him in meeting with him the other day. He said the biggest thing with him, and remember he came in as a rookie, they went right to the Super Bowl, he was defensive rookie of the year, all that stuff. started a bunch of games. He said now, you got to keep the faith and all that, but he said, I want to leave this organization the way I found it. And there's a lot of work left to be done.
Chester Taylor on second down, couple of yards. And when Bryant Young said giving up is not an option.
That's right.
And you know the difficulties that the 49ers defense has had. 3 games this season, they've given up more than 40 points.
Still effective at both the run and the pass is B.Y. Bryant Young. He's going to settle in there, take on double teams, and allow his guys to slide in there and make plays. Pretty amazing. You know, it's been about 8 years already since he broke that lower leg. Still playing with that big rod in his leg, and they responded from that, went right back to the Pro Bowl the year after he broke that thing.
Vikings have to get to the 32 for a first down, but Llewellyn Moore took the shovel pass from Brad Johnson and was tripped up. Fell forward to about the 45, and on comes the punting unit for Brad Childress. That's Chris Cluey on for the first time today.
You can see how inconsistent this offense has been today. That's been the story with them all year long. Inconsistency and in and out of a funk in most every game, I think, probably with the exception of that Seattle game a couple weeks ago when they were really popping on all cylinders.
That was their best game by far. They went on the road in a very hostile environment and beat Seattle. A terrific game for the Vikings as they won that 31-13, their biggest offensive output of the season. And a strong defensive game.
That's their first.
49ers have called timeout just short of the 2-minute warning. What a great day in Frisco. Next week, doubleheader week, NFL on Fox. Early games, Redskins at Philadelphia, Green Bay at Minnesota, 49ers at the Lions. Late games, Dallas at Arizona. That's where Tim and I will be. Rams at the Seahawks, and New Orleans will be at St. Louis. Chris Cluey, the punt, the wobbly kick. Bounces behind Brandon Williams, and it is down. That was Roniel Whitaker getting down at the 1-yard line. Great play by Whitaker and keeping it in the field of play.
Great punt by Cluey to get that thing to hit and bounce straight up.
On Alumni Weekend in San Francisco, the great history of the 49ers. Tony Morabito founded the team in 1946. They played at Kezar Stadium. Their first quarterback, number 63, Frank Albert. Bob St. Clair and Leo Nomalini became Hall of Famers. They had the $1 million backfield in the 50s. Y.A. Tittle, Joe Perry, Hugh McElhaney, and John Henry Johnson. Some of the great names of the San Francisco 49ers. There's Y.A. Players of the 50s, and they're lining up because they'll be introduced to the crowd here. 49ers have the ball at their own 1-yard line. 2 tight ends in. And a flag goes in. They stop the play.
False start offense, number 11. Snapped his head. Half the distance, still first down.
You heard the call from Ed Hockley. That'll put the ball a half-yard outside the end zone.
Yep, and quarterbacks, when they get up there yelling that cadence, they need to try to be as still as possible. They can't get that head moving, and what it forced Ed to do was one of the interior guys there from Minnesota jumped off sides, and as Ed Hockley called it from back here at his vantage point, said Alex had his head moving, which forced this guy off sides.
Vikings looking for a big defensive play here. Straight ahead. A couple of yards pickup on the play by the fullback, Warren Norris. Let's go to the field to Chris Norris. Actually, Frank Gore on the pickup.
All right,
Chris
Sam.
Myers.
Yeah, well, it's all right. I was away for a few weeks, covering the World Series. Now I'm back here with Legends. I talked to Joe Montana before the game. This is the 25-year anniversary of the catch. And, you know, you talk to some of the players, and they say, hey, that they remind it reminds them of the great history of when things changed for the 49er organization with that era. And Montana, you know, was here, and he said Dwight Clark is dressed in a suit. They're supposed to have a reenactment of the catch at halftime, and Joe said, I'm going to overthrow him on purpose, tell him he's too old to make the catch now. The actual catch, though, Joe said the play wasn't designed to go to Dwight Clark. He wasn't throwing it away. He said on a few plays earlier he missed Freddie Solomon on what would have been a touchdown, and that play never would have existed. But he did say he was getting it to an area where only Dwight Clark could catch it. Sam?
We'll see the reenactment at halftime. The NFC Championship game won by the 49ers, who went on to win their first Super Bowl. Ball out at the 2-yard line. Frank Gore carries up to about the 4-yard line. Kevin Williams with another tackle. And now the Vikings use a timeout as they hope to get the ball back before the half ends. '49ers have had the ball nearly 12 minutes, but have rushed for only 16 yards in the game.
Yeah, no doubt Minnesota is on the advantage in the running game. Chester Taylor is doing a nice job, but no turnovers, I think, is the big thing for this 49er offense here in this first half.
Alex Smith rolling and throwing to Brian Gilmore, out of bounds at the 10, but that's short of the first down. That's a mistake by Brian Gilmore, who has more experience and should know that.
He's been far enough along in this league, playing at Arizona and then out to Miami and now here, and is coached well by Jerry Sullivan. You got third and where he was there, you got to get yourself in front of the sticks. I mean, and Alex rolled that way, and he was reading half the field, and everything was set up good, except your receiver broke that route off about 1.5 yards short.
So, third punt of the game for Andy Lee, who's midway through the end zone. Mewelde Moore is standing at midfield. For the return. Good high punt by Lee. Moore backs up to the 42. And is hit and knocked down. Outstanding tackle on the play by Maurice Hicks. At halftime, we've got the Visa halftime report with the updated standings on the BCS. Thursday night, big win for Louisville over Virginia. Will Louisville move up in the BCS standing? Kurt, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy get you updated on what's going on around the NFL with scores and highlights. And Barry Alvarez will check out the new BCS
Well, I don't know
standings.
about you, but that Louisville, they deserve to be moved up. They've had an outstanding season. Where are those Trojans now? They still in the top 10? We all right?
Yeah, you're hanging in there. Out of the shotgun. Vikings have 1 timeout remaining. Johnson gets time, and that pass hit the back of T.J. Slaughter. Popped in the air and was caught. That was actually caught by Jermaine Wiggins. That hit the back of Slaughter. Clock is running. That's a completed pass up to the 49-yard line. Johnson under pressure. He slipped underneath Bryant Young, and then the pass intended for Mewelde Moore is into the ground.
Bryant Young, year number 13, he's just still blowing through 2 guys. That's one he wants back, and Brad is such a big guy, he couldn't get him down, but my goodness, what a great move, penetrating through 2 offensive guys, getting to the edge of the man and getting in there and getting a hit. Should have been a sack, but still clearly, as you watch 97, Bryant Young, Sammy, he can still get in there and throw some terrific pass rush moves.
First incompletion of the game for Brad Johnson. He's 10 for 11, but here's 3rd and long for the Vikings. Rush from the outside. Johnson throws, and it's complete. Troy, no, that ball was incomplete. He had it and dropped it, and the pass incomplete. Well thrown by Brad Johnson.
You can't throw any better in traffic than you just saw right there by Brad Johnson. He's got guys in his face. Anthony Adams getting good push on Burke, and he unloads that thing, and Troy Williamson just coming on this inside dig route and drops it again. That's been the story of that second-year pro all year long. Cannot hang on to the football in big spots.
Chris Kluwe punts it right back as the Vikings go 3 and out. Brandon Williams with a fair catch at the 16. 44 seconds remaining in the first half. 6-3. The 49ers leading it. Well, you like your sports? There's a new network that covers the most prestigious conference in the country, from football to basketball and everything in between. Now you can see the Big Ten's best all on one channel. It's the Big Ten Network, coming in August of 2007. Get some room on your cable.
I may have to take you down to the block after this game today.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay. Drop step on you.
Against the ball.
49ers at the 16. Frank Gore takes it outside. Nice run, his best of the game. Up close to the 24-yard line, that Contarius Thomas made the tackle.
And they're just going to run it out.
Yep.
I mean, you don't want to give Minnesota an opportunity and screw up with the ball security, and the next thing you know, they're going to change that momentum and get some points up on the board. You got to love the way you played this first half. You only got 6 points, but defensively, you got to be satisfied with what they've been able to do here.
And now the 49ers have called a timeout. Mike Nolan decided, you know what?
Might as well use it. You got
a shot. Maybe we'll take a shot. 18 seconds remaining. It's a 2nd and 3. We'll step out for a moment. Alex Smith brings his team to the line. 49ers have won 2 games this season. Both wins have been at home following road losses. And they'd like to see something to happen today. Frank Gore, straight ahead. Fans don't like it.
It's all right. It's the right call.
It's the right call. It's a first down, but the final seconds tick off. The 49ers have scored only 2 first-half touchdowns all season. Did not score a touchdown in this first half, but they got 2 field goals from Joe Nedney and lead the Vikings 6-3 at halftime.
The Visa Halftime Report is sponsored by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Life takes Visa.
A beautiful fall evening here outside D.C. We welcome you to the Visa Halftime Report. Kurt Menefee, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy. And look at that, the 49ers with their first halftime lead of the season, doubling up the Vikings.
Joey Harrington having a big day today. Miami traveling to Chicago. Jimmy Johnson said, great defense. Miami will play these Bears tough, and this is a good example. As Jason Taylor picks off this Grossman pass, takes it back 20 yards for the touchdown. 14-3. It is the Dolphins over the Bears. And then Harrington doing a nice job avoiding the sack, throwing back, finds Chris Chambers on the crossing route, 24-yard strike. 31-13. The Dolphins upset, give the Bears their first victory, their first loss on this season, 31-13. It is your final.
The Buffalo Bills go to 5-0 all-time in Buffalo, knocking off the Packers by 14 today.
All he does is win, but folks aren't happy. They always put him on the pine. That's Jake the Snake Plummer, quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Jake back, post route, Rod Smith, touchdown, 7-0 Denver over the Pittsburgh Steelers. After the Steelers fumbled the ensuing kickoff, Plummer, 10-yard strike to Javon Walker, the fade route. It's 14-7. It is Denver on the road in Pittsburgh at Heinz Field, 14-7. 3:25 remaining in the second quarter.
In San Diego, Sean Merriman serving the first game of his 4-game suspension, not hurting that defense against Cleveland.
We'll be in Pittsburgh next week, but it's Mike Vanderjagt line up 35-yard field goal. It's blocked by Washington's Troy Benson, returned by Sean Taylor. Face mask penalty on the Cowboys, and it sets up this problem right here.
Personal foul, dressing the face mask, kicking team, number 63. 15-yard penalty added to the end of the run. The game will be extended by 1 untimed down. First down.
All right, cannot end the game on a defensive penalty. Therefore, Nick Novak lines up for a 47-yard field goal. He makes it. The Redskins win this football game. What an exciting game here in Washington as the Redskins go 22-19 over the visiting Cowboys, dropping the Cowboys record to 4-4. Skins go to 3-5. Tiki Barber takes his outside, hangs it on, speed to the corner, 16-yard touchdown run. Barber's first touchdown on this season. Giants up 7. Play action. The Jacobs, then rolling right goes Eli Manning, finds the tight end Shockey, 3-yard strike. Giants go 14-10. They win this one, take their record to division-leading NFC Eastern Division lead 6-2. John Kitna of the Lions. Frank Caliendo said, upset pick today. Lions over the visiting Atlanta Falcons. Roy Williams, 60-yard touchdown reception, 30-14. Mike Martz's offense getting it going there. Lions win this game 30-14 over the Atlanta Falcons. Drew Brees of the Saints on the road to Tampa, playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Brees rolls right, pulls the safety away, gets him out of the middle. Therefore, Devery Henderson is there. He gets in the middle, 52-yard touchdown, 14-0 Saints. Then back goes Brees down the left sideline. Once again, there's Henderson, 45-yard strike. Saints on the road. Nice job. 31-14. Saints take their record to 6-2.
Elsewhere, the Ravens snap a 3-game losing streak to the Bengals and up their lead in the AFC North to 2 games. Kansas City goes into St. Louis and ride Larry Johnson's back to a big victory over the Rams. And David Garrard's first ever 3-touchdown pass game as the starter for the Jacksonville Jaguars as they blow out the Tennessee Titans. All right, Fox is the exclusive home of the BCS, and each Sunday we can bring you the BCS standings before anyone else. And here's a look at how they unfold this week. Louisville, following that win over West Virginia, moved into the number 3 slot. Florida remains 4. Texas leapfrogs Auburn, jumps up to 5. Then it's USC, Cal, Notre Dame, and West Virginia. Rounding out the top 20, Arkansas. LSU with a big move after a big win over Tennessee. Rutgers, Boise State, the Badgers, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Georgia Tech, and Wake Forest and Oregon jump into the top 20. All right, guys, the question everyone wants to know. Louisville did get the win. They are still undefeated. But compared to the one-loss teams out of big power conferences, should they beat number 3 today?
Well, obviously, the undefeated, as far as my mind, if the undefeated team goes through their schedule, they didn't determine who they were playing a lot of times because those schedules are made 10 years, in the back history. If they won all their games, they deserve to be in the national championship team. If those other teams want to be in the national championship game, they need to win all their games.
And it's a BCS conference, and that's the bottom line. They scheduled Miami, as Jimmy mentioned, these schedules are far in advance. Miami struggled a little bit this year. Kansas State was on their schedule. And anyone watch Coach Petrino on the job he did last week versus West Virginia. Now they go back-to-back versus Rutgers, back-to-back Thursday nights, which is tough. Very emotional, very physical game for Louisville last week versus West
They have Rutgers, Pitt, and South Florida. All three of those teams have winning records. So
Rutgers on the road.
And the Big East schedule is a little bit tougher than I think a lot of people thought it would be at the start of the season. All right, the Visa halftime continues. Second half coming your way from San Francisco right after this.
25 years ago, NFC Championship game. Less than a minute to go on 3rd and 3. Joe Montana takes the snap, rolls to the right, looks into the end zone, throws deep, and Dwight Clark makes the catch. Touchdown Niners. They win the NFC Championship, go to the Super Bowl, and win their first Super Bowl. Back for the second half in San Francisco in a moment. Back in San Francisco, moments before the start of the second half, Chris Myers is downstairs with special guest. Chris.
Sam, with Mike Clark just a few feet from where you made that tremendous catch 25 years ago. And again, moments ago, what was that like?
Well, that was nerve-wracking. I was a lot more nervous for that one. I had 2 weeks to think about it, and all I could think about is, oh, my God, what if I drop it in front of all those people after all these years? But I guess I caught it when it mattered, and I was fortunate enough to catch this one.
Seeing it on the big screen here, fans roaring, you and Joe, do you ever think if you hadn't made that catch, how it would have changed not only the history for you and Joe, but maybe this franchise?
I try not to think about it, but, I feel quite confident that if I hadn't made that play, that we would have scored on the next play. That team was just a team of destiny, and Bill Walsh and Joe Montana would have come up with something that would have scored the next play.
I know fans watching, we've seen the play, heard a lot about the play, but what's something we don't know about the play?
Well, I know all the Dallas fans want to think that it was a throwaway, but it was absolutely a planned play that we practiced. We didn't practice throwing it quite that high, but it was the kind of play where it was either going to go out of bounds or I could jump up and catch it. We could come back and run the play again.
All right, well, thanks for the great memories, a great career, Dwight Clark. Thanks
for having me.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Sam?
Thanks, Chris. Number 87, Dwight Clark, one of the greats of the San Francisco 49ers, back here on Alumni Day with his quarterback, Joe Montana.
You could tell he was working hard to catch that, but he used his whole body to catch that one.
I bet he had some stickum on his hands.
I grew up in this Bay Area in the 80s, and that got the whole thing started. Tradition and the legacy and all that good stuff from the 49ers in the 1980s was tremendous.
Joe Nedney's kickoff to Bethel Johnson at the 2. Johnson swings it outside. There's the flag on the play. Johnson hit down hard at the 23-yard line by Keith Lewis. Lewis with some words to Bethel Johnson after the hit. We'll check out the flag.
I think a couple of things. If you're San Francisco on defense.
During the return, illegal block in the back by the receiving team number 55. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
I think if you're San Francisco defensively, you just do what you've been doing. I think they've been terrific. Now, they have given up a couple of decent runs to Chester Taylor, but they've been physical tacklers with all the underneath stuff, and they just got to keep doing that. They do have the one big turnover, the sack and the forced fumble by Marcus Douglas, which was huge, which led to a field goal. And then for Minnesota, they've got to figure out how to get something going with the passing game. As I said, Chester has been, okay, the running back, Chester Taylor, but the passing game has been brutal. Brad's completing a lot of them, but it's all underneath, and then nobody's getting any yards after the catch.
He's 10 for 12 for 60 yards passing. His longest pass to Chester Taylor, the running back, to 13 yards. The times he's gone down the field, Bethel Johnson's had a drop and Troy Williamson's had a drop.
And exactly, and maybe the MO that teams are going to now start deploying at Minnesota like New England did last year. Play everything deep to shallow, tighten up on all the underneath stuff.
On first down from the 8, swing it out to Chester Taylor by himself. Puts his head down, dropped the ball, but it goes out of bounds, and they'll spot it at the 15-yard line.
Roughing the passer, defense number 96. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's on the rookie Melvin Oliver that cost the 49ers 15.
Melvin Oliver right here coming from the left end, unblocked. Oh, you can't do that. He took 3 steps and then punched him in the back. You think you can get away with that in college, Melvin?
Bad penalty. So the Vikings come out from the shadow of their own end zone. And the 15 yards gives them field position up at the 28-yard line on the first down.
That's like 15 years. That hasn't happened too many times.
They'll take the yardage. Vikings' best offensive possession was their first one in the first quarter, a 9-minute drive, but it ended in a field goal. Here's Chester Taylor, and another flag comes in. Taylor going straight ahead, getting up to the 32, was tackled by Derek Smith.
Holding, offense number 85, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
It's on Jermaine Wiggins, so back and forth they go. Take a look at first half numbers. Vikings rushing a little better than the 49ers. 49ers a little better passing. Yardage, not much to speak of. Defensive game to this point. 1 turnover by the Vikings turned into 3 points for San Francisco.
And I think you got to be stoked if you're San Francisco again defensively. I mean, this team all year long has given up 34 points a game. And to only give up 3 in the first half, they're going to want to build on that here in the second half, because Minnesota now, you can shake their confidence. They haven't done a lot with the football this year.
Chester Taylor on 1st and 20 gets nothing. That's a great play by Brandon Moore. He just fired in there, got a hold of Chester Taylor and wouldn't let go. That may be a loss of a yard on the play.
That's 2 really good plays by Brandon Moore. The play before the hold on Jermaine Wiggins was because he planted Jermaine Wiggins right on his fanny and he had to hold him. Now you're going to see him here just flash number 56 right there, right out the outside shoulder of that center, Burke. Fields did a nice job tying up the center, which allowed Brandon Moore to run free over the top.
Chester Taylor, 14 carries, 60 yards. Off the play fake, Johnson in trouble, dumps it off to Tony Richardson, the fullback, and he rumbles up to the 25-yard line. Another flag down. That's around where Brad Johnson was buried.
It's another late hit, Sam, on
Personal
the
foul,
quarterback.
roughing the passer. Defense number 93. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Ronnie Fields, the defensive tackle, and you can see how upset the head coach is.
And Fields looks like he gets him helmet to helmet. You're going to have Derek Smith coming over the top. There it is. He had one guy taking him low and be wide. Derek Smith takes him high, and then Fields comes in and tries to clean it up with a helmet-to-helmet shot. Easy call for Ed Hockley.
This drive started at the 8-yard line for Minnesota. The best thing they've had is 2 15-yard penalties against the 49ers. They're out across the 40-yard line.
Let's see if this defense, historically this year, has not been able to overcome those mistakes with their leadership and maturity level. Let's see what they can do here.
Again, the play fake. Johnson wants to go deep. Nobody open. That pass batted down by Ronnie Fields. It was intended for Chester Taylor out of the backfield and thrown low, and Fields knocked it down. First drive, 16 plays, 69 yards, 9 minutes for the Vikings. The last 4 drives, 16 plays, 41 yards. Good job by the 49ers defensively.
This is what this offense for Minnesota, though, Sam, has been all year. Inconsistent, in a funk, not getting a lot of big plays through the passing game.
3 wide receivers. Everybody is out. Long pass for Bethel Johnson. Missed a little wide. He was covered by Shante Spencer. For the 49ers defensively, they've done a good job.
Well, they haven't missed a lot of tackles. That's been the thing. And you see Muelde Moore there. And there's the biggest play of the first half. Marcus Douglas on the sack and the force out. Chester Taylor has gotten a couple of gashes and a couple of pops in there, but for the most part, the guys in the throwback reds from 1989, those throwback jerseys have rallied really well defensively to the football.
Here's 3rd and 10 for the Vikings. Richard Owens in as the tight end. Late blitz coming. Johnson throws, incomplete. Intended for Travis Taylor. So now Johnson off the mark with a couple of his passes.
Well, and you can tell Mike Nolan, the head coach, is starting to dial up some blitzes for this defense. I think as this game has gone on, they feel pretty good about their matchups out on the perimeter with Shante Spencer and with Walt Harris, that they're now trying to get after Brad Johnson. The last 3 times he's had to throw, they've dialed up and turned the blitz right in his face.
Chris Kluwe with his 3rd punt. Good punt up in the air. Brandon Williams waits for a fair catch at the 24-yard line. The great tradition of the San Francisco 49ers. There's a great pass and catch combination. 49ers first possession of the second half starts at the 24. Frank Gore and Moran Norris, excuse me, in the backfield off the play fake. Alex Smith throws outside and the pass dropped. Intended for Antonio Bryant. Time for an update. For that, we go back to L.A. and Chris Rose.
All right, Sam, in Southern California, San Diego, to be exact. Charlie Fry pressured, loses it. Marcus Harris recovers for the Chargers. They give him 6 points. I'd give him a 6-7 for sticking the landing. And the Chargers are up 1. Back to Sam, Tim, and Chris.
That was pretty good. Could you do that? I don't think so.
With a diving board, maybe.
3 wide receivers for the 49ers. Brian Gilmore is the 3rd. Quaim Harris is back in at right tackle to start the second half for San Francisco. Frank Gore is rushed for 16 yards in the game. That's a good pickup up to the 32-yard line. Gore had 11 carries, 16 yards in the first half, coming into the game 5th in the NFL in rushing, but a terrific job. It's tough to run against this Minnesota Vikings team. In fact, New England chose not to run against them Monday night.
They just spread him out and threw it about 50 times. The thing with Frank Gore is, talking about him earlier physically and the eyeball test and all that, it's not what you see is what you get, because he's a heck of a lot faster than he looks. He's a lot stronger than he looks, and you saw a good example there of his vision. Nothing on the inside, and he can get to the edge in a hurry.
Here's 3rd and 2. Smith being blitzed. He got away momentarily, and then Dontarius Thomas takes him down for the sack. First sack of the game for the Vikings, and Dontarius Thomas coming late.
A couple of good things here. Dontarius Thomas is going to beat Quaim Harris right here around the corner. Smiley's going to block down, which is going to open the lane for the blitz of the linebackers. That's basically one of those overload blitzes where you're just going to send more than they can protect. And they were able to get to him there. I think that's their first sack of the day.
And first full sack of Dontarius Thomas's NFL career. The punt by Andy Lee. Fair catch waved for by Mewelde Moore at the 34-yard line. So the defenses dominate in the game. Back and forth they go. The champagne is out early. We love football. Check out the pregame show next week as the guys go to Pittsburgh. Joe Buck, Terry Bradshaw, Jimmy Johnson, Howie Long. They'll bring you the pregame show live at noon Eastern and 9 Pacific. And later on, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman call New Orleans Saints and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Saints winning today at 6-2, leading the NFC South. On first down, Chester Taylor with a pickup of about 3. Let's go to Chris Myers on the sidelines. Chris.
And Sam, from the Vikings sideline, the body language. Brad Johnson said he had faith in his downfield receivers. He told us that, but so far it's been frustrating for him. Mike Nolan at halftime told me he's excited because his team has been a better second half team. He said on offense, they're taking away the run. We have some things we can hit on the pass play. And for the 49er defense, he's very proud of the way they're tackling, as Tim has mentioned. He said we're going to keep putting the heat on Brad Johnson.
Thanks, Chris. On 2nd and 7, the play fake. Brad Johnson with time. Out to the fullback. Tony Richardson breaks the tackle, stays on his feet, gets into 49ers territory, down to the 49-yard line. He broke the tackle of Brandon Moore. 14-yard pickup on the play.
Well, in that time, Mike Nolan decided not to bring the blitz on Brad Johnson. Didn't come after him. Brad had all day to throw, and it was an easy read to find his check down. And then, of course, Brandon Moore, as you said, just launched himself but didn't get his head in front. That old Pop Warner stuff. Get your head in front, run through the tackler. He launched himself and just dripped off of it.
For Brad Johnson, it's been a good bounce-back game. He's protected the ball with the exception of the one fumble in the first half. Here's Chester Taylor thrown for a loss. Good defensive work, and that's Brandon Moore leading the charge for the 49ers.
He's played good all day. I mean, he's had an impact at both the run and the pass, and you're going to see him right here, and he's going to get up and get into the play. He's going to read this thing front side, and then as the running back cuts back, he's able to slide in there because of his penetration right there to the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 11 at midfield. Taylor again, nothing there. And you can sense that the 49ers defense is getting really fired up. You see the way they're bouncing around. That was T.J. Slaughter, the linebacker, coming in with a hard hit.
I got to give the defensive linemen some credit. Those guys up front, because they're holding that big offensive line, which has allowed those linebackers to run and hit unscathed. We've seen that 3 or 4 times today with Slaughter and with Brandon Moore and even Derek Smith once or twice, that they're coming unblocked because of the big fellas up front are able to hold up that offensive line for Minnesota at the point of attack.
3 wide receivers in for the Vikings. Billy McClellan the third on 3rd and 10. Johnson for Bethel Johnson. He makes a diving grab, and it's a first down. First catch of the game for Bethel Johnson. He had 2 catches on Monday night. His first 2 as a Minnesota Viking. And a good catch, picks up 11.
And you can tell, look at Brad's feet when he throws. I mean, he's not really stepping into those throws, but still has enough of an arm to get that out. And then Bethel Johnson is just going to lay out, leave the ground, get himself a first down with that ball. Did he catch it past the ground?
You know what? That ball popped out.
It's going to be too late right about now.
No challenge. Chester Taylor tackled by Brandon Moore again. Moore is firing in. That's 9 tackles in the game for Brandon Moore. And with
that's a 9 now, and he is attacking downhill, and now maybe that's why Jeff Ulbricht isn't out there, because 56 is playing his tail off. I mean, he got right to the line of scrimmage there, and it looked almost like it was a run blitz, and then shot into the backfield, got himself a tackle.
2nd and 10 for the Vikings at the 38 of the 49ers. Off the play fake, Johnson completes to Troy Williamson. Shante Spencer pulls him out of bounds just across the 35-yard line. First catch of the game for Troy Williamson. Man that the Vikings really depend on to get down the field and make some big catches, but he hasn't been the big play man.
Speed. He can get open. That's not a problem. And I asked Brad Childress, I said, when he came out of South Carolina, I go, did he have a history of dropping balls? Well, he didn't catch a lot down there with Lou Holtz coaching that team. They ran, a couple of routes. He goes, but no, he didn't have any problems, and he just had issues tracking the ball in the air, is what they tell you. Me, Sam, that just says it's a wide receiver that can't catch.
3rd and 6. That pass batted away, intercepted. Intercepted by Walt Harris, his 4th of the season. The ball was popped in the air. And an alert play by Walt Harris, 2nd turnover of the game for the Vikings.
Great job by Sammy Davis, taking away the inside leverage that the receiver wanted. Coming down on a slant, Sammy Davis was just able to get under Troy Williamson right there, took the leverage away, popped it up, and Walt got it.
2nd takeaway of the game for the San Francisco 49ers, a fumble recovery and the interception there. 49ers' 5th interception of the season, 4 by Walt Harris. On first down, Alex Smith. Nobody open, rolls, dumps it off. Frank Gore breaks a couple of tackles, gets across the 40 to the 42. That's a first down. And the little scramble by Alex Smith rolls around, finally shovels it off to Gore and picks up 12.
Very underrated athlete. Ran for over 600 yards his last year at Utah, and that's all him right now. Just improvising, buying time with his feet, and then not quitting on it. And having the wherewithal to keep his eyes down the field and then just flip it over the top to Frank Gore, who, Sam, you could see there, he gets going from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat. He is at full speed.
First down at the 42. Alex Smith has always been underrated. Played in the shadows of Reggie Bush in high school here in California. No gain on the play as Frank Gore carries on first down. Dontarius Thomas made the tackle.
Here's the pick by Brad Johnson, and I'll put this one on him. Fundamental error. He throws it late. Anytime you've got a slant coming down inside to the open side, you want to turn and fire that thing. And you saw that he turned and gave it a little hitch, almost a little pump, which, as it looked from here, allowed that corner, Sammy Davis, to get up underneath it and be able to bat it up in the air so Walt Harris could get his 4th pick of the year.
Michael Robinson comes in for Frank Gore, who's gone to the sideline being checked out by the training staff. They gave him a yard on the last play on 2nd and 9. Smith gets time, throws, and Antoine Winfield picks it off. Beautiful diving interception by Antoine Winfield at the Vikings 39-yard line.
It's the same play they hit him on earlier with Arnaz Battle. Remember that deep dig that got him into field goal range? Tried to go back to the well. You're going to see triple coverage out here to the right, and Winfield just undercuts it for the interception.
Winfield's 2nd interception of the season, the 7th pick thrown by Alex Smith. 9th interception of the season for the Minnesota Vikings. Antoine Winfield, little guy, but boy, he plays big.
He plays at a Pro Bowl level every single year. Never a drop-off in Antoine Winfield's game versus the run and the pass.
From the 37, Chester Taylor slipped as he tried to cut, and he's brought down at the 39. Let's check out the Broncos in Pittsburgh. Chris Rose, what's happening?
Well, Sam, in the Steel City, everybody thinks that Mike Bell's got the ball. The Steelers defense, the cameraman, not Fox, by the way. Instead, it's Javon Walker racing 72 yards for the score. They're up 21-10. By the way, the worst 8-game start by a defending champ, 2-6 by the 99 Broncos. Sam, back to you.
Wow, thanks, Chris. And the Steelers, if they don't come back, they'll be 2-6.
Put that dirt on them.
Pretty close. Taylor thrown for a loss. Good penetration on the play by Anthony Adams and Isaac Sopoaga.
And I think they've got him figured out. Defensively, Mike Nolan is on his game with what he's calling. He's going to slant this right into the run. And we know they're a heavy left side team. Watch the slants by the defensive line, straight to the right. Anthony Adams going to force that to cut back there. And then Sopoaga, Sam, who's also on a gap charge to his right, Minnesota's left. And that is just a perfect call scheme-wise, scheming it up the right way at the right time by Mike Nolan for his defense.
5 defensive backs in on 3rd and 10. Johnson being pressured. Turns back and is buried. Big loss back to the 27-yard line. Anthony Adams getting some playing time. Loss of 11.
And has been highly productive, Anthony Adams. There's Troy Williamson, who just slips on the timing route. You slip there, you're done. Brad's not going to unload that football. Bethel Johnson looked like he had a little room on the other side, but that's the side where the rush was coming from, and I don't think Brad was able to see it with Brandon Moore coming off the edge and then Anthony Adams coming in to clean him up.
2nd sack of the game for the 49ers. Chris Cluey gets that punt away. Brandon Williams got room to return. Tries to get outside. That's a good effort by Rod Davis, but there's a flag on the play. Rod Davis just signed this week. Had spent some time with Carolina earlier this year. Spent parts of the previous 2 seasons with Minnesota. 42-yard punt, 4-yard return. And we're checking out the penalty flag. Ed Hockley getting the input.
Boy, what an effort by this defense for San Francisco today.
Really good, real strong.
There were fouls by both teams on the play after the change of possession. There was a personal foul, horse collar, by the kicking team, number 50. There was also a holding by the receiving team, number 26, while the punt was in the air. By rule, those fouls offset at the spot of this foul. First down.
The horse collar tackle by Rod Davis. And then the holding penalty. And the 49ers defense continues to be strong. Tonight on Fox, the Simpsons are back. All new with their scariest treehouse of horror yet. It all starts tonight at 8, 7 Central, right here on Fox. San Francisco 49ers will go to work after the Simpsons are done there. Yes, Alex Smith takes him to the line. Last 4 possessions have ended with 3 punts and an interception for the 49ers, who start from the 32. Frank Gore back in at running back, and Adam Snyder's in at right tackle. Gore inside, gets up to the 35, and that's all. Got a 3 on the play, as the Vikings very tough to run against. Only Baltimore has given up fewer rushing yards this season.
Yeah, but it's what San Francisco does and does best, and they're not going to get away from it. Norv Turner will not say, okay, we're going to come out, we're just going to spread all day and try to throw the ball. I think defensively they played well. They've clearly stayed in this game, only giving up 11 points. It's just a matter of time before Frank Gore busts one. Believe me, he's got that ability, and Norv will keep feeding the rock in this football game.
There's Norv Turner upstairs. Gore has carried 14 times for 28 yards. On second down, Smith looking for Gore out of the backfield. Quick play by Fred Smoot. Takes him down at the 33-yard line. Good close by Smoot.
Well, that's what you want to do. And Mike Tomlin, we always talk about coming from that Tampa Bay mentality of that Tampa 2 defense and the zone coverage and all that stuff. That's what you want out of your corners. They play the flat, and if anything doesn't threaten them there, then they look for the swing route and then come up and be great tacklers. And I think people were apprehensive when Mike Tomlin got here if Fred Smoot could survive in that type of defense and being physical. And so far, so good versus the run. He's been solid all year.
3 wide receivers in. Brian Gilmore in with Antonio Bryant and Arnaz Battle. On third down, Smith being pressured. Kevin Williams has got him. The ball popped loose. And I believe the 49ers have it back. Kevin Williams, that'll be his 5th sack of the season. He leads the team.
Looked like Frank Gore just stepped the wrong way here in the blitz pickup, because they're going to come this way. He steps here and then filters to the left, and they end up coming right from where he voids. You see him step up to the right. He was in here. Now he moves back to the left. As soon as he does that, that allows the offensive lineman, lets his hands off of the defender, who's able to slide in there for the sack.
May not give a full one to Kevin Williams. He kind of slipped off, but he got a big piece. 5th punt of the game for Andy Lee. Mewelde Moore waves for a fair catch at the 24-yard line. Back and forth they go. The punters become very important as they play field position. That was a 47-yard punt for Andy Lee. Celebrating Alumni Weekend in San Francisco, the 49ers of the 60s played some tough defense, led by the likes of Ed Beard, Charlie Kruger, and Dave Wilcox. And on offense, John Brody led the offensive attack. There, we're still looking at the big defense, and there's Brody's passing.
Chewing gum in unison.
Sync.
Look at
from Manny Lawson. Second catch of the game for Jermaine Wiggins. Ball just across the 30-yard line. Minnesota kind of balanced in where they're trying to hit.
And I think if you looked at them during the course of the year, most of their stuff has gone to the left.
All right. 2 tight ends.
Today, yeah, it hasn't really gone anywhere. Anything they've tried, that 49er group, especially with that front 7, has been stiff.
Chester Taylor cuts it back. He's got a first down as he gets up near the 35-yard line. Mike Adams, the safety, comes up to make the tackle.
It's pretty amazing what they're doing with their linebackers front side. They're going to attack these guys, and then they're going to slow play it backside, waiting for the cutback. You see Derek Smith, he's going to go bust that in the mouth, force the cutback, and then you got your free safety right there. You got your linebacker, you got Melvin Oliver, your D linemen that are sitting and waiting for the cutback. They are forcing the issue. That's what Steve Hutchinson said too about Derek Smith, is he's a downhill player, wants to hit you right in the mouth and force that run to cut it back.
First down from the 35. Johnson swings it out to Chester Taylor. Nice little cut, turns it into a big gainer. There's a flag on the play. Taylor being led down the sideline by Tony Richardson. He goes in. But there's a flag back at the 46-yard line of Minnesota. It's a 65-yard play that may be negated.
Illegal block in the back by the offense, number 83, 10-yard penalty to keep first down.
Jeff Dugan. No, he's inactive. That's the wrong number. Let's see. That's
going to be on Travis Taylor, 89.
Yes.
going to try to search up Brandon Moore. All right, he's got him. Now you can't hit him again, and that's it. I mean, just enough of a push. And you see, he should just let him go now. There, right there. Okay, now just let him go. Take your hands off of him. Keeps his hands on his back. Gives enough of a push where Chester Taylor can cut it back inside, which clearly freed him up. Biggest play of the day, and Travis Taylor shoots himself in the foot.
Had the idea of how dangerous Chester Taylor can be. First half, he ran for 61 yards on 13 carries. Second half, he's had 8 carries for 2 yards. And that was a little swing pass, and he turned it into a 65-yarder that gets wiped out. On 1st and 20, the completion is to Richard Owens, the tight end, actually 1st and 10 on the play. Lawson comes in and makes the stop on Richard Owens.
Wait, that bad block by Travis Taylor. You learned that from day one in Pop Warner. You can read the guy's name on the back of his jersey. Don't put your hands on him.
Wanted to finish him off,
I guess.
And he wound up with a flag on the play. Final seconds of the 3rd quarter. Troy Williamson and Bethel Johnson are the wide receivers. 2nd and 7 for the Vikes. Taylor, Chester Taylor, bursts through the hole, spins, and keeps fighting for an extra couple of yards down to the 46-yard line. Tony Parrish took him down. Strong run by...
Yeah, that was Pinner that got in there.
First run of the game for Pinner. My apologies. 16-yarder. End of the 3rd quarter. 49ers still lead it 6-3. Welcome back to San Francisco. Sam Rosen, Tim Ryan, Chris Myers with you as we start the 4th quarter. Minnesota Vikings with the ball at the 49ers 46-yard line. Tough to win when you don't score touchdowns, and the Vikings have not scored a touchdown in their last 8 quarters.
Both defenses have really played well. You know, Alex Smith and the 49ers offensively aren't doing a lot with the football either. Frank Gore has been stuffed most of this football game.
Artus Pinner stays in the game. That was his longest run of the season. 16 yards. He takes it outside, drags the defender, Shawntae Spencer, with him, and picks up the gain down to the 37-yard line. Nice run by Artus Pinner, who had only 6 carries coming into the game, and now in the last 2, he's picked up 24 yards.
He's one of those bruiser types that go about 230 plus. Had some starts in Detroit when he was there, was a 4th-round pick, and I know in the division, Minnesota, when he came free on those final cuts, they were stoked to be able to pick him up, put him on their roster.
2 tight ends in on 2nd and a long one. It's Pinner cutting it back. Hit hard by Shawntae Spencer. That may have been helmet to helmet, but it's a 1st down at the 33-yard line. And the Vikings going back to what worked for them in that first possession of the game, and that is grinding it out.
And just getting that offensive line and letting them try to maul the guys up on the inside, which they did on this play. Get everybody pushed. Now take a listen.
That was helmet to helmet.
Yeah, but you can helmet to helmet running backs
right.
Anytime they, and you can helmet to helmet a quarterback. I mean, if they get the ball in their hands and they cross the line of scrimmage and become a runner, they're fair game. You can hit them anywhere.
Chester Taylor back in at running back for the Vikings. Little toss, and Brad Johnson leading the blocking for Bethel Johnson, who gets across the 30-yard line down close to the 28.
Marcus Douglas has played well today. Had that sack early, forced fumble.
What's Brad Johnson thinking?
He'll go get in on the block. You know him.
15 years in the league. He's got to take care of himself.
That's how he takes care of himself, keeping himself in the action.
Ball spotted just across the 29-yard line.
I don't think Brad's ever been a guy that's going to turn away a fight or some contact anywhere. Just talking to him and knowing his gritty personality.
2nd and 5. Swing it out to Chester Taylor. By himself, he's hit, brought down by Tony Parrish at the 27-yard line. Give him about 2 yards on the pickup.
That's what they've done best all day long. Whether it's Parrish, as you saw there, Shawntae Spencer coming up in corner support, Keith Lewis making tackles, Walt Harris, the linebackers have played terrific. All that underneath stuff that Minnesota has shown on film, it's all they do. It's all they do all year where they have their success. Tackling would be a premium today by those linebackers with all the medium range stuff and along with the safety in secondary, and they've come through big time.
Mewelde Moore comes in as the running back. 3 wide receivers in for the Vikings. on 3rd and 4. Johnson trying to throw it. The ball popped loose. Will it be a fumble? Fumble recovered by the 49ers. Was his arm coming forward? That'll be the question for the Vikings sideline. Manny Lawson recovered the fumble.
And they only rush 4. That's the beauty of it. Drop 7, rush 4. Is the arm going forward? No way. And it's Brandon Moore again with a big-time play. He's been everywhere.
3rd turnover of the game, all on Brad Johnson. 2 fumbles and 1 interception. From the 30, the 49ers with a 6-3 lead. Frank Gore slipping a couple of tackles and a hard-earned 6-yard pickup.
That's where he's underrated, with his power in the hole. We talk about guys just falling off of him. Watch Ben Lieber's got a free shot on him for a tackle for loss. You would look at both of those guys and say that's a mismatch. He runs right through that arm tackle and then runs through E.J. Henderson as well. That's that trunk strength, that core, the abdomen, the stomach, the lower body. What Norv Turner and Mike Nolan said, that's his best asset, is that strength from the waist down.
2 tight ends in. Billy Badgerman, number 47, motions. The play fake. Smith rolling, throwing for Gore, makes a one-hand grab and moves upfield. A first down. He's out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Nice catch and spin by Frank Gore, showing some good athleticism. 11 yards on the play.
Yep, Alex just going to a little sprint out to the left and then float it to him. And now what a terrific catch with one hand. Missed tackle by Fred Smoot. A little hop step. I mean, when you talk about it from the other side of the ball, Minnesota's perspective, that's what they did last week. That's why they got torched so bad by Tom Brady, the inability to make the tackles underneath.
See the total yards for Frank Gore. Came into the game 6th in the league in total yards from scrimmage. First down, 49ers at the 46. It's Gore again. This time he's wrapped up. Good play by Kenechi Udeza, coming in from his defensive end position. Ball back to the 44-yard line. Frank Gore and the 49ers would like to complete a long-term deal, and he just hired Drew Rosenhaus to go along with the other University of Miami backs. But the 49ers are kind of holding off to see how he'll hold up.
I think
injuries have set up in his career.
16 games. He's had a lot of injury issues throughout his time at Miami, and had 2 shoulder surgeries here in the offseason. They said want to see him get to a full season.
Eric Johnson went in motion. Deep drop, setting up a screen to Michael Robinson. And a good job by Robinson as he dragged E.J. Henderson with him and turned nothing into a couple of yard pickup up to the 49-yard line.
They're going to use him in all kinds of different ways here. They'll just leak him out on the little screenplay. See, the idea with a guy like him is to any way you can get him in space. And that's what a lot of third down backs are good at. You get him out in space, get him in the swing routes, get him matched up on some linebackers. And again, the ability to break a tackle and pick up the extra yards.
A quarterback at Penn State converted to running back. With good speed out of the shotgun on 3rd down. Smith, pump fake, and shovels it off for Robinson. And he's hit and brought down. And a flag on the play. Cedric Griffin with the hit. But a flag goes down.
Cedric Griffin is bringing it today. He's packing a lunch to come up on these hits. With his corner support's been super.
Rookie out of Texas, 2nd-round draft pick.
And you can see how they've got more Michael Robinson into this game late, and I think it makes a lot of sense. The defense getting winded, they're getting tired.
There was no fumble. The runner was down by contact. After the play, personal foul, defense, late hit. Number 98, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Darian Scott with the late hit. And that cost the Vikings big.
I think he comes in here with an elbow is what he's doing and trying to add a little extracurricular. You watch 98, Darian Scott, he's going to pursue the ball. Now watch him come in right there with the shoulder and the elbow on the ground to add some insult to injury with a little extra punishment there. You can't do that. I mean, you can understand if a guy's already left his feet and he's laid out and he comes down on a guy, but when you come down with the extra and try to chicken wing a guy, in the head when he's on the ground, they're going to make that call.
And that's an upset Brad Childress pacing the sideline as the 49ers move deeper into Minnesota territory at the 35. And Norris motions. Gore, the reverse. It smelled out, and they got him. Waiting for him was Darian Scott, who may have twisted a leg, and he's hurting. May have twisted his ankle. He stopped the play, and then Battle was buried, and it looks like, uh-oh, that's bad.
Yeah, he came up the field unblocked, and then as soon as Battle tried to make that little cut, he tried to cut with him, and that's when he went down.
Darian Scott trying to collect himself,
And
but he'll need some assistance to get off the field.
Excuse me, Sam, so darn fatigued, and we saw him on that last play running the field, and he got the personal foul and throwing the elbow in there, and then you come back and you've got to be able to operate under high stress with that speed, and your legs get a little tired, and sometimes they give out from underneath you. You don't get yourself in great position to make a cut and get back, and then something structurally goes. And I think that's the thing that so many people forget when we watch these guys in such high quality and magnificent athletes, that a lot of them are dog tired out there and still trying to push it and make big plays while your heart rate's up at about 170 a minute.
Darian Scott limps to the bench, where he'll be checked out by the medical staff. He's replaced by number 92, Jamie Mitchell. On second down, two tight ends in for the 49ers. Smith slips, steps up, and finds Eric Johnson. And he's brought down in his tracks by Fred Smoot at the 34-yard line. Pick up a third and long. Third catch of the game for Eric Johnson.
And Eric has taken virtually every rep since Vernon Davis went down early. Their first draft pick, number 5 overall, with that broken leg.
Speaking of Vernon Davis, he started to run. They expect him to practice this week and hopefully be back the week after next.
And I think they're doing the right thing in terms of building this team. You know, there's Vernon Davis right there, and the guy's an electrifying athlete for sure. Has a lot to learn with the pro game, but getting weapons around your franchise quarterback, last year's #1 overall pick, Alex Smith.
He's missed the last 5 games, including today. Short drop, the pass tipped, and falls incomplete. Eric Johnson made a one-handed attempt, but it just went beyond him. And the offense stalls, and Joe Nedney is coming on the field to attempt a long field goal.
Yeah, trying again to work the middle of the field. Kevin Williams just gets right in the throwing lane, and it's that hand up. Looked like Brian Gilmore was open too. Lucky that one didn't come down for a lot of times on those tips. You end up with interceptions, and fortunate that Minnesota didn't come down with it.
This will be a 51-yard try. Andy Lee is the holder. The long snapper is Brian Jennings.
I don't think Joe's made one all year over 50, Sam.
The whistle blowing, they stopped it. No matter what, it won't count. It went right through, but they stopped the play.
Ball was snapped, delay of game, offense.
Well, that will probably change Mike Nolan's plans. As Joe Nedney argues with Ed Hockley that
Joe's
time had not run out.
Something on the play clock that he can see down in the end zone up on the big board. I think he's having some type of complaint or issue with that with Joe Nedney. There's the play clock there.
Now Ed Hockley checking it out with his team of officials. And let's find out.
The play clock was reset for some reason. It was not done by the officials on the field. However, the play clock was reset to 25 seconds. There would have been a delay of game. However, as a result of the play clock being reset, there will be no play. The whistles were blown, the flag was thrown. We will not penalize for delay of game. Replay with no foul.
Okay, so Nedney will have to try and make it again.
A little home love.
A do-over.
Who's working that play clock?
So we go back to square one. The ball spotted at the 34-yard line. And once again, Nedney will set up for what is almost a 52-yarder, but officially will be a 51.
And that's just a veteran kicker. I mean, good heads up by Joe Nedney to be able to make his point there to Ed Hockley and sell it to him to where he could buy it.
Good job. Mike Nolan is probably saying, listen, Mike, I kicked it right through the upright.
Can we just give us the 3?
Yeah, give us the 3.
You know, I hope that the fan base, and I know John York will be patient with Mike Nolan. He is the right guy for this job to build this football team.
And Ed Hockley doing a good job. He explained it to Mike Nolan. Now he's going across the field and explaining it to Brad Childress. Now, Brad Childress, of course, is saying, wait a second. There was 0 on the play clock. That means it should be a delay of the game. And Ed Hockley is saying there was a malfunction. There was a mistake on the reset. There's no play, and we'll start it all over. Right now with 7:20 to go, only field goals on the scoreboard. 2 by Nedney, 1 by Longwell.
This has been a defensive battle completely. I mean, right now, collectively, there's about 300 yards of offense in this football game. It's not 3.5 quarters being played already.
You can tell the feelings of Brad Childress. He wants to move back 5 yards and out of field goal range.
Gotta let it go, Brad, like Andy Reid taught you. Be a flatliner.
It's not easy now. They are starting a stretch where they play only 2 teams the remaining portion of the season that currently have winning records. And they need this win. Nedney gets it away. And he does it again. Joe Nedney puts it through. "51-yard field goal for Nedney. His 10th 50-yarder of his career. The 49ers have a 9-3 lead. Joe Nedney's longest field goal of the season, officially a 51-yarder. 6 points off turnovers for the 49ers as Nedney kicks it off. Bethel Johnson from the 1. The wedge in front of him. Looks for a lane, slipped one man, gets up to the 28-yard line, and that's where the Vikings start from. Trailing the 49ers 9-3. NFL on Fox pregame show at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific from Pittsburgh live. Seahawks host the Rams. Brad Johnson, 3 wide receivers, goes to the man out of the backfield, Chester Taylor, but he slips and goes down at the 33. Brandon Moore was there. Credit him with the tackle.
You know, a couple of times this year in a few of their wins, they've been able to come from behind, and they'll need it here. They need to somehow find a big play. They got to win this game. I mean, you look at the rest of their schedule. You look at these next 4 games. I mean, if they could get through these, somehow get this one today, come back here, it looks appetizing to get on a run to be playing your best football in the month of December.
Taylor trying to squeeze through the hole, gets up to the 35-yard line. He'll break up a 3rd down play. Chester Taylor close to 70 yards rushing for the game, but in the second half, he's rushed for fewer than 10 yards.
Yeah, they've hammered him this whole second half. And I know he was at about 4.7 a carry at halftime. Certainly isn't even close to that now when you look at he is down close to 3 yards. I think 3.1 a pop, so you're right, second half as they have limited any of his running lane.
2 tight ends, 2 wides, and Chester Taylor in the background, in the backfield on 3rd and 3. Johnson, nobody open, in trouble, he throws it away. Being pulled down by Bryant Young with Brandon Moore. The 2 of them getting big-time pressure. And they have had trouble on that right side.
Well, they've done a terrific job in coverage. Watch Walt Harris right here. He is just going to jump this little slant, this little stop route. He knows right where they want to go. You see that? I mean, he just jumped that thing. That's right where Brad was going with the football. They've got a great thought process going here defensively on what Minnesota wants to do, and Sam, how to take it away. That was a good example of it.
3 and out for the Vikings. Chris Kluwe's 5th punt is a good high kick. Brandon Williams with a fair catch at the 22-yard line. 49ers defense has been superb. The team that's given up the most points in the league, given up 3 today. Top quarterback efforts. Drew Brees in New Orleans wins. He throws 3 touchdown passes. Lions win over Atlanta. John Kitna passes for 321. St. Louis lost despite 354 yards by Mark Bulger. Steve McNair beat his former team.
2 in a row for Baltimore since coming off the bye week when McNair had that concussion. Now Frank Gore.
My apologies. He beat Cincinnati today, 26-20, not Tennessee. Gore on first down gets about a yard on the play.
And you watch Frank Gore, and he has put it on the ground 5 times this year. He has had a propensity to fumble the football. So I guarantee you, Mike Tomlin defensively, they preached it all week. They have yet to force those kind of turnovers, the splash plays, if you will, in this game by just knocking it loose. And I guarantee it that he's in his guys' ears. Any chance you can get when 21 Frank Gore has the football, one guy hold him up, the other guy come in and try to rip it out.
Ray Edwards, number 91, rookie out of Purdue, has replaced the injured Darian Scott at left defensive end for Minnesota. There was a loss of a yard on that last play. It's 2nd and 11. Blitz coming. Smith. They got him. He gets away. And now he's brought down. Good tackle by Darren Sharper. Would check out Cleveland at San Diego. For that, let's go to Chris Rose.
All right, Sam, LTTD from 41 yards out. It's his 10th rushing touchdown, 12th overall. That leads the NFL, and the Chargers lead the Browns 17-12. They're still in the 3rd. Back to Sam, Tim, and Chris.
Big game, Chargers hoping to go to 6-2. They're 5-2. Denver's 5-2. Denver leading. 4th quarter in Pittsburgh. Right here, 3rd and 11.
No risky throws if you're Alex Smith here in this position, as well as your defense has played today.
Smith being blitzed. Gets rid of it. It's dropped by Frank Gore. Right there was Dwight Smith, and Gore made the catch, but it's 3 and out for San Francisco.
And it was the right decision. I mean, they sent an overload blitz, that one where they send more than you can block to the front side of that thing, and that was the read now. When you got a blitz coming right in your face, that was his hot receiver. Out on the edge, he just couldn't come up with the catch. Good read by the quarterback with the blitz in his grill.
A lot of work for the punters today. Andy Lee's 6th coming up. The deep man is Mewaldy Moore. Big booming kick. Moore backs up to the 25. Straight through, but a good tackle on the play by Maurice Hicks, the man who suffered a concussion in last week's game. He was questionable whether he would play, but he comes up with a big special teams tackle. Looking at the 49ers of the 70s, it was Mike Nolan's dad, Dick Nolan, who led the 49ers to a couple of division titles to start the decade. John Brody had Gene Washington to throw to. Most of the decade saw the 49ers take their bumps and bruises. Then in 1979, they hired Bill Walsh to run the team, drafted the young quarterback out of Notre Dame in the 3rd round, Joe Montana, and the rest is history.
What did Brad Johnson tell us about Joe Montana? You still couldn't pick him out at the combine if he was there.
2 tight ends for the Vikings who start from the 39. Johnson dumps it off to the tight end Jermaine Wiggins. He gets up across the 45-yard line. Pickup of 6 on the play.
Doesn't it illustrate, Sam, what kind of offense this is? Needing big plays down the field with under 4 minutes to go, and they can't do it. They can't do it.
They've got to depend on the short stuff, breaking a couple of tackles into longer plays. Chester Taylor and Tony Richardson in the backfield. Chester Taylor jumps through the hole and gets enough for a 1st down. 1st down at midfield. Derek Smith made the tackle on Chester Taylor.
It's what you call a linebacker filling his gap of responsibility, and talked about Derek Smith being a downhill guy. He's done it all day today, knowing that Chester Taylor is the guy, and you're going to watch him just pound it up inside here. Watch 50 flash into your screen right there. Takes on Marcus Johnson right at the line of scrimmage to get a tackle for a minimal gain.
23 carries, 73 yards for Chester Taylor. Here's Taylor again, straight ahead, takes it outside. Nice move by Taylor, ran into a wall and turned nothing into a 9-yard gain down to the 41-yard line. Mike Adams and Derek Smith combining on the stop. That's an important run. Good first down run.
Now, if you're Mike Nolan, I don't think you want to screw up your defensive game plan now by sitting back with 4 guys in a shell coverage and not bringing that extra safety up in the box for the run game. And that's what happened there. They just had 7 in the box, and one of the few times today that they've had that, and Chester Taylor took advantage of it with a big run.
Taylor again. Gets through the hole. Parrish and Ulbrich take him down, but it's a first down for the Vikings at the 49ers 31-yard line, and it's all Chester Taylor right now.
We saw it again right there. We've seen it all day that San Francisco has lurked that safety up into the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's going to be a 7th guy out here in your screen that you can't see.
We have come down to the 2-minute warning. The Vikings trailing by 6, trying to drive for a go-ahead score. And then tomorrow night. Now, first down Vikings at the 31. The pump fake by Johnson. He throws, and the pass is incomplete. A little behind Travis Taylor. Mike Adams covering on the play.
Heck of a break up on the football by Mike Adams. I mean, yeah, this ball is behind him. Travis Taylor's got a chance to corral it as he slides down. Oh, yeah, Mike Adams came up and broke that up. What a terrific break of sitting your hips and then bursting up on the football and getting your hand on it before Travis Taylor could pull it in.
A chance of defense from the crowd. Taylor and Richardson in the backfield. It's Chester Taylor, takes it outside and gets down to the 27 where Tony Parrish takes him down. Brings up a big 3rd down play for the Vikings. 3 is not enough.
Again, only 7 in the box to defend that time in the combat zone, and Parrish came from about 12 yards deep. Keyed and diagnosed run right away and then slid to the outside and was able to pick up a nice tackle.
The last time the Vikings scored a touchdown was 2 weeks ago at Seattle in the 3rd quarter. Right here, 3rd and 7 with Mewelde Moore in the backfield and 3 wide receivers. Johnson throwing short. It was dropped by Troy Williamson. Oh, bad drop by Williamson. It would have been enough for a first down. Now the big call. 4th down for the Vikings.
Critical drops all year long. Had him on the slant. They run the other receivers deep. Cleared it out. Brought him underneath. You saw Travis Taylor there taking Walt Harris deep. That hit him right in the chest plate. We've seen that a few times today. We've seen it all year long from last year's #1 pick. Sam, he can't hang on to the football.
There it is. 4th down. They need to get to the 21-yard line. Johnson has time. He throws deep, and it is incomplete. Broken up. 49ers take over. He went into double coverage to Bethel Johnson, and Mike Adams and Shawntae Spencer were there.
That didn't have a chance. Bethel Johnson doesn't even go 6 foot. Mark Roman.
Was it Roman?
And he was double covered. You had the corner that's going to run with him deep. And then the safety comes up there over the top. Mark Roman just gets up higher than Bethel Johnson and is able to get his hands on the football. That was a prayer by Brad Johnson.
Roman and Spencer there, and Roman broke it up. So the ball goes over to the 49ers. The frustration on Brad Johnson's face tells you all you need to know about the Vikings' day offensively.
And it just has to highlight again that drop right there by Troy Williamson. The biggest spot of the game, and he can't come up with a big play.
Both teams have all their timeouts remaining. Frank Gore carrying. Not much there. And the Vikings call a quick timeout. Under a minute to go in the 4th quarter. The 49ers leading. The San Francisco 49ers have given up 38 points or more 4 times this season. Over 40 points 3 times this season. Last week were mauled by the Bears, gave up 41 points in the first half, and they have held Minnesota to just 3 points. The Vikings offense has disappeared the last 2 games.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, if you go back and into the archives of San Francisco 49er football and all the great offense and all the big-time players, they always had great defense. It's a big part of where the tradition was built here in San Francisco was on the defensive side of the ball.
Gore hit his own man, bounces it outside. Frank Gore with a big run, slides at the first down line. stays in bounds.
How smart is that for a second-year pro? He's got more room to run. He's thinking about his stats. Hey, he's only run for 40 yards today or whatever it's been. It hasn't been good, and had a great opportunity there to pick up some extra. I'm going to slide down, make the smart play, keep the clock going.
First down. Vikings have only one timeout remaining, and the 49ers can let it run out. Tonight on Fox, your favorite Sunday comedies are back with all new episodes of The Simpsons, Treehouse of Horror, American Dad, Family Guy, and The War at Home. It all starts tonight with a bonus hour of The Simpsons at 7, 6 Central, only on Fox. Viewer discretion is advised.
What a super win for San Francisco. Mike Nolan's got to be pumped with the way his defense has played. Offensively, not a lot, but they faced a very tough defense today in Minnesota. And I think on the other side of the ball, if you're Brad Childress, man, what an opportunity that you let slip by.
Yeah.
When you look at the remaining part of their schedule, in particular in the month of November, they had a great opportunity to close the gap on Chicago today. They went down to Miami, really shot themselves in the foot all day long, could get nothing going in the passing game. And Sam, when they had their opportunities, the receivers couldn't hang on to the football. And once again, Brad Johnson with the ball security was an issue.
Alex Smith takes a knee. As time continues to wind down, the Vikings can no longer stop the clock. Today's game produced by Mike Burks, directed by Rich Russo. Associate Director Tom Yohe, Broadcast Associate Darren Foster, Technical Producer Frank Phillips. Pregame show produced by Scott Ackerson, directed by Bob Levy. Senior Producer is Bill Brown. Executive Producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Spotter in the booth, as always, Gary Lynn. And our statistician is Emmett McGuire. And for the San Francisco 49ers, it will be their third win of the season, all at home. Brandon Moore was a big factor defensively.
Everywhere, getting after the quarterback, and that's the thing they probably did best, Sam. All that underneath tackling, they got nothing after the catch today, did the Minnesota Vikings underneath.
49ers beat the Vikings 9-3. 3 field goals by Joe Nedney. The key to the offense for Mike Nolan, a big bounce-back win. 49ers are 3-5 as they beat the Vikings 9-3. Vikings haven't scored an offensive touchdown in 9 quarters. UPS, what can Brown do for you? Alex Smith, 13 for 21, 105 yards, 1 interception. Chester Taylor ran for 96 yards for the Vikings. Travis Taylor, 3 catches, 19 yards. Frank Gore rushed for 41 yards. Promotional consideration provided by the following sponsors. And don't forget, tonight on Fox, your favorite Sunday comedies are back with all new episodes of The Simpsons, Treehouse of Horror, American Dad, Family Guy, and The War at Home. For Tim Ryan and Chris Myers, this is Sam Rosen. Stay tuned. The primetime lineup is coming up.
Fox Sports thanks you for watching this presentation of the National Football League. The NFL is online at www.nfl.com.